And we are going to be streaming soon, and we're waiting for all the streams to start. So I'm going to put the audio on here. It's a very high class show, you understand. We're streaming on, who we got? We're streaming on everything now. Okay, let me go to the opening music. Let me see if I can find it. And here we go. Dance with me, ladies.
Welcome to Read My Lips Radio, a lively hour of unscripted conversations with savvy creatives. Producer and host, akaRadioRed, asks novelists, artists, photographers, designers, comedians, actors, musicians, composers, screenwriters, directors, and technology innovators about their creative passion, inspirational muses, and how they create. Ooh, how those lips can talk. Now, here's akaRadioRed.
To the voice of Ryan Treasure, Radio Red in the house. It's Monday. Where else would I be? I'm happy to be here with three very beautiful, smart, interesting, intriguing creatives who happen to be ladies today. I met them all at the National Publicity Summit, where I get about 85% of my guests from all year long. Ladies, we haven't rehearsed this, but before we get started, I want you to all wave hello to LinkedIn, to Facebook, and to YouTube. There we go. Officially, you've welcomed everybody. And I want you all to put your fingers up in the shape of the letter L. We have a little shout out to do before I tell everybody who you are. There you go, Ruth. And we're going to say on the count of three, hello, L, L, L. Just like that. 1, 2, 3. Hello, L, L,
L,
L.
L.
Oh, ladies, you could do much better than that. I could hardly hear you. Let's try it again. 1, 2, 3. Faster. Hello, L, L, L. There we go. There we go. Okay, LLL is lovely, lanky Laura Legs, our most loyal listener. And at about 6:01 p.m. Eastern tonight, she's going to email me a little report. And she's going to say, what did Irene Cop say? She's going to tell me. And what did Ruth Fein say? She's going to tell me. And what did Cristina Leira say? I got it right. She's going to tell me. So we want to make sure she knows. Yes, she's our most loyal listener. She's in Whitestone, New York. Ruth, I've been trying to get her to move to a place that starts with L for years. I'm in Loudon, Tennessee. Don't even ask how a New York girl ended up here. I don't even, when I figure it out, I'll let you know, but I can't get her to move here. So, and a belated happy birthday to LLL. So it is, my goodness gracious, already, what day is it today? The 18th of August. And let me look at my notes here and see, we have a couple of shout outs to do for famous birthdays before we get started. So it is the birthday of Robert Redford is 89. Can you believe that? And Edward Norton and Christian Slater could be brothers. They were both born today, and they're both 56. I wonder if their mothers knew each other. Caitlin Olsen, who is a wonderful comedic actress, is 50. Andy Samberg, the comedian, is 47. And we have in memoriam Patrick Swayze, passed away in 2009. You all remember him from Dirty Dancing and all those good movies. He was born in 62. Malcolm Jamal Warner just left us a few weeks ago. He was born in 70, and Martin Mull, the comedian, was born in 32. And I want you to know that on this day, in 1962, this is very important, ladies, this is going to change your life. Ringo Starr practiced for 2 hours, and then he made his debut with the Beatles at a party at the 17th annual fête, that's French for party, for the Birkenhead England Horticultural Society. That apparently is a big day in music history. I just want you to know. It was also Elvis's funeral. 150 people were invited inside. Any of you ladies were invited inside for the funeral? I didn't think so. Well, you might have been among the 75,000 who were outside who got to wave hello. Yes, so in today's Bad Poetry Day, Fajita Day, Ice Cream Pie Day, Pinot Noir, I'll have a drink of that. Serendipity Day, Embrace Life's Happy Accidents. And it's Mail Order Catalog Day. If you ever remember the Sears catalog or the Montgomery Ward catalog, Montgomery Ward started off this day in 1872 with one sheet of paper, Ruth. Christina, he had 163 products listed on one piece of paper, sold directly to people without a middleman. He started the catalog business. He grew it 2 years later to 32 pages, and 2 years after that, 152 pages with 3,000 items, and he really got everything going. So there you go. So I officially want to welcome all of you and thank you for listening. I have a new show called HB2U, and I did it about 2 hours ago with more of the birthdays. I have a lot of fun with that. So anybody here having a birthday today? Anybody? No? Anybody this week? Last week? Next week? No? Next week? Okay, well, maybe you'll come on my Happy Birthday to You show. We'll do the celebrity shout outs together. Okay, so I'm going to welcome you in the way I always do. And when I call your name, just wave hello. Okay. Welcome to Read My Lips, where soft sparks ignite. Cool conversations with creatives shimmer in our light. AKA Radio Red takes flight on her Scarlett Mic beam, exploring the whispers. One of you put whispers in her statements. That's where I got it from. Exploring the whispers that fuel every dream. You know who you are. Dr. Irene Cop, wave hello. Ruth Fein, wave hello. Dr. Cristina Leira, all wise, sharing moments where insight and magic arise. No blah blah or babble babble Q&A where we're just conversations and we're going to play. So tune in, lean close, let us whisper your way and make your day. Here we go. I have a special intro for each of you. Irene Cop is first. The youngest of six in a lakeside town small. Nature's adventures kept answering Irene's call. Hard times at home, yet with courage she would cope, helping pay the bills while holding on to hope. At 5, Arlene declared, I keep calling you Arlene, Irene declared, a new life I will make. Through learning and schooling, success I will take. Chiropractic and medicine came into view. 2 doctorate degrees proved Irene's promise was true. But flameout struck hard, a near final test. Irene rose to help change makers live at their best. With Shift, all in capital letters, Institute, and her book on the way, Dr. Irene shows how to soar starting today. I hope you like that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And now Ruth Fein is next. From Albany's roots with the journalist's pen, Ruth captured the stories of places and men, a reporter, health advocate, writer with grace. Her words lift the hidden, giving challenges a face. 3 years with cancer, yet joy leads her way. Ruth greets each morning as her very best day. From marathons run to a stringer for the Times, she's chronicled heartache in prose and in rhymes. Her book, The Big C Too, shines light on the fight for thrivers whose voices stay hidden from sight. A lover of music, of travel, of art, Ruth inspires us with courage, and she lives from the heart. Ruth?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Lovely. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. And Christina, from Buenos Aires, where resilience runs deep, Christina grew curious of symbols we keep. She searched for the meaning behind every word. In silence and culture, her compass was stirred. With degrees in linguistics, translation, and more, she came to the U.S. to study and explore. A master's, a PhD, her path was well made, and with Navy SEALs, Christina's training was conveyed. When funding collapsed, she chose to reframe. The Lyra Code, in her name, rose from professional flame. Now a neuroscientist of the soul's inner art, Christina guides reinvention with wisdom and heart. I hope you like that.
Love it.
I'm glad. So here's my closing. So gather around where the cool vibes sway as we dive deep into creativity today. AKA Radio Red's energy lights the way. We hope to inspire you to live large, love life, and play. So that's my custom intro for each of you. Irene, I hope you enjoyed that.
I loved it. That was, I already told you, it was like, I want that poem.
Here you go. I'll send you a clip. I don't send the text. I only send clips, but you'll get the links later. Ruth, I hope this was good for you.
Lovely. Thank you.
I'm glad. Christina, you too? You're all smiling. Good. Now, in 12 lines, it's impossible, although I covered the highlights, the spotlights of who you are and what you've done. I'd like to know a little more. So let's go around the table. We'll start with you, Irene. I'm saying your name right. I apologize from before. I know what it just came off the tongue wrong. Irene, I would like you to take 2 or 3 minutes. I'm going to put you on speaker view, and I'd like you to tell us a little more about the highlights of your life and a little bit about your book. So, Irene, officially welcome to Read My Lips. Go ahead.
Thanks, Radio Red. I am Dr. Irene, founder of the Shift Institute, and because I nearly died in my quest to change the world, I'm passionate about helping other visionary change makers create their greatest impact, their legacy vision, and enjoy life too. In other words, it doesn't have to be so hard. The name of my upcoming book, using neuro success secrets to soar.
Tell us a little more about along the way. What happened? What made you write the book?
So as I was laying flat in a hospital bed with 10 broken bones, my 4-year-old son in another hospital with a catastrophic brain injury, having undergone emergency brain surgery to live, I was racking my brains as to like, why did this happen to me? Why? Because I did everything right. I was a doctor, a meditation instructor. I did yoga. I ate right. I exercised. I did everything right. So why did I crash and burn? Literally in a near fatal car accident that was caused by a hidden health condition that I didn't know I had. And I had a lot of time to think while I was laying flat on that hospital bed with those broken bones, because it was the first SARS quarantine, not the sea bug. And what I realized is that there are 5 hidden, I love to call them black swans, as Chris Voss calls them, that hidden piece of information that once known changes the whole game and your whole life. And what I realized is that these 5 hidden black swans had been operating in my life, literally draining my life energy without me knowing. I thought I was on top of the world. I thought I was Superwoman. I felt great emotionally. There was no burnout. I bypassed burnout completely and went straight to what I call flameout syndrome. And however, they were in a very real physical way dragging me down into adrenal exhaustion, what is the cause of flameout syndrome. And I realized that, and between that and the tools that I needed to help my son, because I was told he would never walk, talk, or pass high school. He does all of them, graduated as an engineer from one of the best universities in the world. And yes, proud mama moment. And I combined those 5 black swans.
That's for your son. That's for your son and for you. Okay, I had to do that. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Finish.
So I combined the answers of those 5 black swans with the answers of what I needed to help my son heal against all odds, despite missing literally 20% of his brain. And I have created the Shift Formula and the Shift Institute so that I can help prevent as many other people around the world as possible from suffering what my family suffered.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. I could see the emotion in your eyes, could see it in we could see it in your face. We could see almost the tears. I was almost crying. Thank you. This is where we get real, just for a couple of minutes. Just want to know, I can do so much in 12 lines in a rhyming intro, but this is what we don't get to hear. So thank you very much. Ruth Fein, welcome. I'm putting you on speaker view. Tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Well, I don't know how I followed that, Irene.
You follow that being the wonderful Ruth Fein. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. So my doctor calls me a poster child for clinical trials. I'll start there. I actually have a rare blood cancer for 30 years, not 3 years, as your poem said. So you can correct that. The reason I wouldn't bother to correct you, but the reason is 30 years is a really long time, right? So before 30 years ago, no one even acknowledged that this was a blood cancer. I had a blood disorder, and the reason that matters is that our scientific advances have been so fast and so real and so monumental that over the course of my lifetime, since I've been diagnosed, which was 30 years ago, everything has changed. And not just for blood cancers, but for so many cancers. So what that means is that 18 million people are living with cancer just in the US. And though we're not going to talk about cancer, the point is that there's lots of people living in a way that we didn't expect to live, and people don't know how to talk to us or about us or deal with us. And so we go through treatments. For me, I pop a chemotherapy pill and lots of other pills every day, and I go about my life, thank God. And but there are lots of people who we think are better. They went through treatment, they went through remission, people say, wow, that's behind you. How lucky are you? But it's never really behind you, right? So the reason I wrote this book, which is called The Big C Squared, and Big C Squared, the two C's for chronic cancer. The reason is that I've been a health and science writer my whole life. So it's a bit ironic that as I started writing essays really for myself, and little by little they were published, I began to realize that I could make a difference. And I honestly never expected to. What happened is in the middle of the world being shut down, I wrote a piece for the New York Times about myeloproliferative neoplasms, which is the rare blood cancer I have. And I wrote it because it was interesting that all of a sudden it was called a cancer, and so money started flowing to it. Before that, nobody did any very, very little research in this area. But Big C, all of a sudden there's research money. And so I thought it was an interesting story. And the editor that I'd worked with for a long time said, oh, you have to write this first person. I said, I don't write first person. No, you're going to, I really, really want you to write this first person. So I did. And the reason that made a difference in my life is that not the story, which became landed on the homepage of the Sunday Times. That wasn't it. What was it was the hundreds of thank yous that I got. I got hundreds of emails and texts, and people thanked me because for a rare condition, we don't know how to talk about it. We don't know how to explain it to our friends and family. We don't know how to explain how what they say is, no matter how well-meaning it is, it isn't supportive, right? For someone to say, but you look fine, which of course is one of the titles in my book, but you look fine. Well, I'm glad I look fine, but yesterday I couldn't get out of my recliner, right? So there's a lot behind that. So in all the essays I wrote and that New York Times piece, I started to realize people started calling me an advocate. And that was new to me. I didn't think of myself as an advocate, but I realized the more videos I did and webinars I hosted and stories I wrote, I was helping people and they were responding. And so my life's work at the moment is changing the conversation around the chronic nature of today's cancers because, yay, we're all living longer. Not all, but so many of us are living longer. And so that's where I am.
Thank you. Yes, people want to know they're not alone, don't they? Don't we, Ruth? We want to know that what we have, what we think we're just a little tiny dot of sand among these gazillions, that there might be a couple of other grains of sand that understand what we're going through. So bravo to you. By the way, I checked the poem. It was 3 decades. I said, not 3 years. So I want to make sure because I would have corrected, but I did correct the 2 was to the second power. I didn't have that. So C to the second power. I apologize for that. C squared. So there we go. Try to be accurate here. Thank you very much, Ruth. And now it's time to welcome Cristina Leira. Cristina, I'm putting you on speaker view. Please tell us about yourself. Welcome.
Thank you. So born and raised in Argentina, Buenos Aires. My father was a very well-known podiatrist, and he was very successful, and so he worked very long hours. My mom was working with him in doing the business side. So I was pretty much after hours, after school with nanas. And they were not really there for me. They were there for the money. It was obvious they didn't want to really talk much to me. So I found the books were my best friends. And that's where my story begins. And I started reading comics, and I was probably 5. I tried to talk with the nanas, and they were not interested. So I started reading comics and more, and then books and more. So obviously I became a translator and interpreter because, again, I love reading and I want to build bridges. And then I became also a teacher of English and French as a foreign language. But then I'm an explorer, and later when I was in my 20s, I decided to come to the US and do my master's in applied linguistics. Little did I know that I was going to stay. I didn't plan to stay here, but I remained staying here. And life took me to meet different people. One of them had a program for naval special warfare. And she asked me if I wanted to teach languages to these people that we're talking 1996. I didn't know who Navy SEALs were. And she said, oh, you will love it. I'm like, okay, what are they? And it's like, don't worry, just come and teach Spanish and French. They need it before they go to their deployments. So that's where, again, started. And I was trying to teach with this method of this language grammar books. Good luck, right? Because Navy SEALs, 3-month immersion of a 6-hour a day, they wanted to strangle me, and they could have very well, right? So I decided to pivot, and I created a way to teach them. It was based on grammar pretty much, and then from there learned vocabulary. So anyways, long story short, that became my identity. So going back and forth to Argentina to visit my parents, but then what I did became my identity. Got married, and also what my husband did was his identity. And the reason why I'm mentioning that is because in 2021, the year after COVID pandemics, my program after 25 years was defunded. It was completely unexpected. And all of a sudden, I am unplugged from my identity because all I knew were my books, grammar, and what I did. All of a sudden, I don't have that. Now, a few years earlier, I had started my PhD in psychology with cognition and instruction and focusing on neuroscience. Little did I know that what I was reading, I needed to then at some point start using on me. And then 6 days after my program was defunded after 25 years, my husband, working for the corporate world after 26 years, he was laid off. So it literally in 8 days, all our lives were upside down. And so that is when I touched rock bottom, and I went deep down into darkness. And then I in life you have choices, and then we are responsible for the choices. I knew one thing for sure, that wherever you are in darkness, stop digging, because it will get darker. So I stopped digging, and after I went through my emotions, then I said, well, okay, I need to repurpose my life. My husband wanted to remain in the industry. He found a great job. I wanted to do something different. I didn't want to be a linguist anymore. So I went into neuroscience. So finally, that is where I am today, which is I want to help those who are where I was in 2021. And I tell you, very dark thoughts come to you when you equate what you do with your identity. Mm-hmm. And so I want to help those to not make a choice that is either digging even deeper or, suicide or things like that. So that is my mission in life, to say there is hope. It's not easy, but it's much better once you come out to the other side.
Thank you. The light at the end of the tunnel, but you have to find the end of the tunnel first in order to see the light. Very, very interesting. Thank you to the three of you for sharing your stories. Very, very intriguing. And my joy is meeting people like the three of you at the Publicity Summit. And I saw in 2 minutes, I get 2 minutes on the clock to meet you, to write my notes, to say, okay, August 18th is open. Do you want to be on my show? Yes. Okay, give me your phone number and your email. Okay. And then they say time's up and go to the next person. But I had to see that glimmer in you, Irene, in you, Cristina, and you, Ruth. I had to see that little glimmer that said to myself, these people, these ladies, these humans, these adults will make interesting creatives for my show. And you've all just proved that I made a good decision. So show's over. No. Okay. Now it's time to go. Time to go. And the applause track goes to all of you. So I just wanted to do that once. Now, we're going to go to the part of the show where I've asked you each to pick a quote from a fictional character in a movie or TV show or a song lyric. I've done a little research on the quotes. I'm going to read the quote with a little bit of background, and then I'd like you to take about 2 minutes and describe what it has to do with your creativity. So, Irene, we're going to go to you first. And Irene picked a quote from a song by Great Big World, an American musical duo from New York. I've never heard of them, and the song is I Really Want It. They include the singer-songwriters Ian Axel and Chad King. They were signed to Epic Records. The group is best known for their single, This Is the New Year, performed, and this is the key, performed by the cast of Glee. and it reached the Billboard Mainstream Top 40 chart in 2013. And they were very successful. They met as music business students at NYU. I thought that was very interesting. So, also, I wanted you to know, Irene, that This Is the New Year, their song back in 2011, was featured as the theme song for MTV's I Used to Be Fat. It was featured on The Amazing Race, on One Tree Hill, on Good Morning America, and on ESPN. So I think they hit it big. Here is the line you have picked from I Really Want It, the song. We're always looking to someone else. Just take a look in the mirror, because all you need is inside yourself. It couldn't be any clearer. Okay, Irene, how did you pick this one? Okay, take a couple minutes. Go.
I had a really hard time picking just one line from one song, right, guys? That was probably the hardest thing. And I chose this one because part of, I'll spoiler alert, one of the 5 black swans that I discovered in myself, and frankly have since discovered in my top performing clients all over the world, is that they don't believe they're top performing. They believe that they are completely inadequate and they're deficient, they're broken, they don't have what it takes. They're a big fat fraud. And this seems paradoxical with when I say top performing. However, they keep going for like that next degree, that next accolade, that next certificate, thinking to themselves, okay, finally, I will be enough. This also goes along with, needing to be perfect in order to just be enough. And I call this pathological imposter syndrome, which is completely different from so-called normal imposter syndrome, which is just part of the cycle of change where you are incompetent because you've started something new and you don't have the skills. Very big difference between incompetent, which you can change, and inadequate. And so many greats, Emma Watson, so many. Simone Biles, the most decorated gymnast in all time. And after she needed to withdraw from the Tokyo Olympics from a case of the twisties, which is psychological, everybody threw her under the bus, most people. And she said, I never felt that I was any good if I wasn't getting that next gold. Like I was only as good as my next gold. And I could say me too, because there's a reason why I have a string of like 2 doctor degrees and certifications and yada, yada, yada. It's because I was this person. And so that line in that song is really saying, you are already loved. You are already valuable. You are already successful because you are a child of whatever you call it, God, source, universe. Right? There's nothing to prove except your innate genius that you were born to grow into that highest potential that you alone have.
Thank you. That was lovely. That was lovely. We've all heard about imposter syndrome, and yes, and what is that? There's a line, I think from Emily Dickinson, success tastes sweetest when you're trying to get there, and then once you get there, it's like, okay, another trophy on the shelf and another degree after your name and another house in your list of ownership and another, I don't know, another car in the driveway. But success is on the way. And then once we get there, it's like, oh, I need to do something else to prove, not to everybody else, to prove it to ourselves. Thank you. Thank you, Irene. It's very telling. Let me go to Ruth. Ruth has picked a quote from another song. We got songs today. Song written by Northern Irish singer-songwriter Van Morrison, the title song of his 1995 album, Days Like This. He performed this in concerts. It's one of his most popular songs. It peaked at number 12 on the U.S. rock digital song sales chart. I'm getting some feedback on somebody's mic. I'm hearing a little. The song was inspired. Ruth, I guess you know this. The song was inspired by the Shirelles song, Mama Said There'll Be Days Like This, from 1961, which was written by Luther Dixon and Willie Denson. And it's the official anthem of the peace movement in Northern Ireland. Very interesting. And it was also used with Brown Eyed Girl as a theme music for promoting the ceasefire. But we don't talk about war here. So here's the line Ruth has picked from the song. Mama told me there'd be days like this. Okay, Ruth, what's this got to do with your creativity? Go ahead.
Well, it has to do with a lot of things. And when COVID hit, I have a son who's now, I've lost track, 36, I think. And he was about to get married. And this wedding was postponed twice because of COVID. And had he gotten married when he was supposed to get married, I might not have been able to walk across the dance floor to dance with my son at his wedding. So I went into a clinical trial, which I've been on for 6 years now. The fact that the wedding got postponed for 2+ years, I was able to dance at his wedding. And of course, we danced to the song "Mama Told Me There'd Be Days Like This." So it's very personal, but it also has it.
There we go.
Oh, thank you.
Okay,
it also has a tie to creativity as well, because I feel like my entire life, I'm like a very positive person. I keep mentioning my my blood cancer and other things, but that's because we're having a real conversation. The truth is that for 20 years, I didn't talk about it, which is not a good thing, by the way, but I didn't. My friends would tell me, even today, I can't believe I didn't know, right? Because I want to be Ruth. I don't want to be Ruth who has cancer. I don't want to be a cancer patient. I want to be Ruth, and so who happens to have cancer, because I live a really grateful life now. Again, it's been 6 years and it's made a difference. So Mama Told Me There'd Be Days Like This is broader than that, because I'm the product of two first-generation Americans who neither of what I'm the first one to go to college, and actually my older sister, the two of us, the first in our family to go to college. And my dad grew up on the Lower East Side of New York in a tenement house, if you know the Lower East Side of New York. 6 children, a mama, daddy, and 2-bedroom apartment. And the best part is they shared a bathroom with the apartment across the hall. So 2 families. So Mama told me there'd be days like this, meaning just everything gets better. We work hard. And the necklace I'm wearing is actually an inscription that says, got to get it right, wherever you go, there you are.
There you are.
Which means a lot. So many.
I think that's from Winnie the Pooh. Is that from Winnie the Pooh?
I think it's from
from a lot of places. Yeah, it's from a lot of places.
I think it's actually Confucius, actually.
Okay, a lot of stories about the tenements, and it's so long ago, but we need to keep those memories alive, don't we, Ruth? So people know what life was like. It's important. It's a foundation. Thank you very much for the quote. And I'm going to Cristina. Cristina, I had questions about this quote, and I'm going to read it, but it's a little dicey for my show, but we'll do it. The quote is from The Birdcage, which is a movie based on La Cage aux Folles, which was an adaptation of a 1973 play. The movie was in 1996, and the character is Armand Goldman, played by the wonderful late, great, sorry he's gone, Robin Williams. He played the gay man Armand Goldman, the owner of a drag club in South Beach, Miami, living with his partner Albert, played by the wonderful Nathan Lane. Let's see. They're about to marry their daughter. Their son is about to marry the daughter, Callista Flockhart, of a conservative senator, played by, what a cast, Gene Hackman and his wife Diane Wiest, and Hank Azaria and Christine Baranski were in the movie as well. And it debuted at the top of the North American box office. It stayed for 3 weeks. Listen to this. I think we all wish we were producers back then. $185 million on a $31 million budget. Can you imagine the investments? It was groundbreaking because it was one of a few films from a major studio to feature LGBT characters. It got the Screen Actors Guild, the SAG Award for Outstanding Performance by a Cast. Interesting. And a nomination for Best Art Direction at the 69th Academy Awards. That's interesting. I'm hearing somebody talking in the background. Has somebody got a visitor there? Nope. Okay. Jordan, is your mic off? Yeah, Jordan's mic is off. Okay, somebody's talking. Well, here we go with the quote. Yes, I wear foundation. Yes, I live with a man. Yes, I'm a middle-aged bag. Yes, I know who I am. Okay, Cristina, rescue me here. What has this got to do with your creativity? Go.
Well, yeah, I would have picked something a bit more literature based or scholastic, but this is all about creativity. And first of all, I live by humor. I love humor. I think that everything that is difficult to understand, grasp, or embrace with humor is more digestible. And so, one thing that I love about that quote is that the Robin Williams, in his character, he's claiming space unapologetically. He doesn't care for judgment or societal expectations, so long as what you do is not hurtful, cruel. Then we need to learn to be less apologetic about our choices. Again, respecting the boundaries of others. And I grew up very apologetically. Like I wanted to always be pleasing everybody. I wanted to always do the right thing. And that broke me many times over. And then, when life says, well, enough, you have to, one way or the other, find your own way through. And that is when you have to claim space unapologetically. That's the quote that I chose.
Claim space. I like that. I like that a lot. I claimed space for this show many years ago because I wanted to get the round table. I wanted to get people talking among ourselves about our insights, about our creativity, about our life experiences without making it into a one-on-one interview. I do other shows like that, but the magic to me was claiming the space for a group of people. And I did this in the business world. I created 48 business thought leadership roundtable series for some of the biggest companies in the world. And nobody was doing it back in 2011, 2012, 2013. And everybody all of a sudden said, yeah, we want to get people around a table and talking without selling anything and without trying to convince anybody of anything. Not a webinar, just talking. So I like that phrase, Cristina, claiming space. I'm going to remember that. Thank you. Thank you, ladies, for the quotes. Now I'm going to pick one creativity statement from each of you. And here's where more magic is going to happen. Irene, I'm going to read statement number 3. You don't have to go find it. I'll read it slowly. And then I'd like you to take about 2 minutes, unpack it for us. And then I will open it up to Ruth or Cristina. Ladies, I think you each have 10 fingers. I don't respond to the middle one. Wiggle one of your polite fingers. It's a low budget show. I'm the green room warm up comedian. This is as good as it gets. Wiggle one of your nice fingers and I will see you and call you and you can make a comment back to Irene. And then I'll pick one statement from Ruth, same thing, and one from Cristina, and we'll go around the table. We have enough time to do one from each of you. So Irene, number 3, this is interesting. Irene says, I keep an artist's pad by my bed in case Irene, this is where I got the title of this episode. I have to pick a different word every week, and this is the whispers of creativity. Irene says, I keep an artist pad by my bed in case the whispers of the night awaken me. And I have over 1,000 notes on my iPhone for all the ideas that pour in throughout the day. This is a challenge for those of us whose minds are always working, isn't it, Irene? Irene, go ahead and tell us about that artist pad. I'm very intrigued. Go.
I'd love to. And, I even keep it right beside me. Sometimes it's smaller, sometimes it's larger. I would like to take credit for the whispers of the night. However, it was Wayne Dwyer.
Okay.
Who said it. He said, always pay attention to the whispers of the night. I don't know his exact quote. And so, yes, I keep this by my bed because as a doctor, I can say it's really bad to have your phone on or, so that you can actually see. I've gotten really good at writing, and I'll just place it. Hopefully I'm not getting my microphone, placing it on my chest like this. And I will literally hold and draw the lines down. And now it's hard enough reading my writing at the best of times. However, it's so it can be a challenge going back the next morning. However, it's getting it out Number one, so that I can actually go back to sleep. And number two, I have really, I've found time and time again that when I go back and read those, I'm like, damn, this is good. Like, really good. But guess what? I also recognize it didn't come from me.
Oh.
I truly feel like I have downloaded it from the universe, that creative force that created all worlds, all life. I'm not a very religious person, and even in quantum physics, we are all nodes in the same energy field according to quantum physics. So that's pretty darn spiritual sounding, at least. And so I just allow myself to be open to whatever is going to come through.
Like a channel.
Yeah, I'm channeling it, because that way I can say, just use me. Just use me. How am I supposed to, I'm your hands, I'm your feet, I'm your voice, I'm your heart. I'm the author. Right?
I have a comment on that, but I'm going to wait to see what Cristina and Ruth want to say. Ruth, do you have any comments for this?
I just find it really interesting because I say the same thing all the time, that I'm not a very religious person, but I am very spiritual. So I get that completely. I think that those of us who are creative, sometimes we just say, where'd that come from? You could call it the universe. You can call it something more spiritual or more religious. You can call it anything you want. But I get that, because sometimes I just sit back and say, I don't know where that came from, but it's really profound. Yeah.
Thank you. Cristina, thoughts?
Yeah, I love it, Irene. Irene, I'm telling you in Spanish, Irene. I absolutely love it. And the word whisper, I think I also used it in my statement, because it's funny, but I strongly believe that our connection comes in whispers, right? It comes in a very subtle way. And for that, we need to be present, because when we are thinking of how to be liked or how to be approved, we are not. I talk because I was there a lot. And sometimes I go there and then I like grab myself by the ear and come back. Be present. And the whispers, we only listen to those whispers when we are in the here and now. I love it. It was beautiful.
Thank you. And I'm going to add a quick comment. I wanted, about 12 years ago, I wanted to write a romantic comedy play, and I had no idea how to do it. And I looked up, how do you write a play? And I found Playwriting 101, and it was a downloadable. I put it into a Word document, and I was working full time, but I started writing at around 1 o'clock in the morning. And after 3 or 4 nights of that, I finished the play. And the reason I finished it, I produced it in my TV studio. I had an Access TV show, and my director and I edited it down. I had community actors. We did it on green screen. We took pictures of New York City scenes in a cab, and it was just really well done. I can send you all the link if you want. It's called Hail Hail, like Hail Hail, the gang's all here. But Irene and Cristina and Ruth, the characters told me what they wanted to say. That's my point. I didn't feel anything spiritual about it, and I didn't feel like I was, the voice of the hands of the universe. But the characters were telling me this is what they look like. This is what they wanted to eat. This is what they wanted to say. This is where they wanted to go. This is how they reacted to who got in the cab first. It was a couple met through a dating site anonymously in front of Penn Station, wearing Groucho Marx glasses and noses and mustaches. And my numbers, are you 974-523? Yeah, I'm 93. Okay. And then they got in the cab and went on a date, and it was almost a disaster. But anyway, the point was that this came to me. It appeared through my typing, and it was there, and it was interesting. And I'll never forget that experience. I did 2 more plays, but this is the first one that really stuck with me, that something was, these characters wanted to, and of course it was reflection on my life, but I wanted to tell their story, my story. Here we go. Okay. Thank you very much, Irene. And let's go to Ruth's statement. Ruth, I'm picking up on number 3 here. Your statement, you say, my brain never slows, no matter where I am. Walking down the street or hiking somewhere remote or in a busy urban environment, I notice things others don't. These things stay with me. I let them out through my writing and occasionally through my painting. Okay, Ruth, let's talk about your painting.
Yeah, we've talked about words. Everything I've seen, no matter where I am, whatever I see, I realized one day, just a few years ago, that I picture things as not as a photograph, but as a painting. And I would take photographs. We all take so many more photographs because our iPhones are handy, right? And I always pictured everything. How would this be a painting? I didn't consciously realize that, but I realized that everything I frame and everything I photograph is really about what it would be as a painting. And so I have absolutely no training whatsoever. But I just started painting. I started watercolors. I started gouache. I just started playing, and I'm really having fun with it. So,
I bought a painting set at Michael's when I lived in Durham, North Carolina, and it was on sale. And it was like a great big artist portfolio, with the handle, the big thing, and it had all kinds of paints and colors and pencils and drawing books inside of it. I stuck it in the closet for 2 months, and one day I was cleaning out the closet and I said, "What's this doing here?" "Oh, I bought it." I opened it up and I said, "That's nice," and I zipped it up and I put it away. And two
uh,
months later, I took it out and I said, "That's nice. Let me take a look." And I started drawing and painting. And Ruth, it's now about 6 years later, and I have 300 paintings, and they're all over my house, and they're on the walls, they're in my garage, they're in my living room, they're on in boxes. That movers had a real day 53-foot truck, and there were about 20 boxes of paintings, but I never stopped. But I'm not trained, and
yeah.
it brought me such joy. I could do 5 paintings in a weekend and just feel like the world was flowing. My world, my imagination, the colors, the watercolors, the acrylics, the collages, everything. So I identify with that. Ladies, anything you want to add, Cristina or Irene? Go ahead. I saw that finger, Irene.
I put two fingers up there.
I thought, okay, Irene gets to talk for 2 sentences. Go ahead.
I wanted to say, I personally feel that the self-taught allows for the exuberance and the pure creativity to come through, that you can get hemmed in by being told that this is how you do perspective and shade, and that this is the definition of creativity. My house is full of paintings done by a friend of mine who is a completely self-taught artist, and I love the joy, the exuberance, the expansion I get when I look at those paintings, because there's a story that goes
Yes.
with them, and she thinks outside the box, because
Yes.
guess what? She's never been hemmed in.
Yes. Thank you. And a lot of people are doing reels on Facebook now of their art and how to do this and how to do that. And the comments are scathing. Most of them is like, if I take a tree branch and put it in black paint and spatter, it's going to go all over my house. What do you mean it went on the canvas? How'd you do that? Anyway, I look at it and I say to myself, I don't want to paint that tree that looks like the tree. I want to spill my acrylics. I want to tilt the canvas, and I want people to just appear magically out of it. And I want to say, wow, I didn't know they were there. So that's my joy. Christine, anything you want to add to that before I go to you? We have just enough time. Go.
In fact, I again, another one that I also love, Ruth, because between the whispers and the art, also another thing that resonates, again, growing up so lonely, not only reading books, but I started drawing. And my mom saw me drawing, so she hired a lady who was an artist, a painter in Argentina, to teach me how to paint. But she was teaching me different ways, and I was like, to your point, Irene, I was not like, I didn't like that I had to do it a specific way. So I'm like, I flunked all that. She said like, she's unteachable. And then I started painting on my own. And I also now do it on my own, which is the same as we were all saying, like I do it my own way, is my way to connect with my soul. So I love it.
Thank you very much. And let me go to, I'm in the wrong place here. Let me go to, I have you in 2 places in my notes here. So, Christina, I'm looking at let me find you. Hold on 1 second, dear. I want to find you what I've got for you. Here we go, Christina. Okay, I have 2 of your creativity statements I want to read together. We have just about 6 minutes left, but we'll get these in. Number 1, Christina says, I create when music moves through me. Trance, classical remixes, those electric waves that awaken something ancient or futuristic in my soul. And then Cristina says, I don't plan. I don't overthink. I just do. Ideas arrive fully formed. I follow the current, not knowing where it leads, but always knowing it's right. Give me 2 minutes on that, please, Cristina. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just go directly to the first and one of my favorite examples. When in 2021, I was doing my PhD and I had a paper due, and it was a humongous paper. Well, 2 days, no, I'm sorry, 5 days before the paper was due, I was used to procrastinate, leaving it to all the very last minute. So 5 days before that, that is when I had already known that my program was defunded. So I was like, how am I going to write this paper now when I cannot? And then I started finding myself, and I'm like, okay, I can do this. At least Nick has a great job. And that is when he was laid off. Now, I literally had 2 days to finish this 5,000 word paper, and it was based on neuroscience behind our choices. Hello. So I put trance music. In fact, it was a remix of Vivaldi. And with, again, it's the thing why I like trance or music, classical music, is because it doesn't have words. I don't want someone else's message. I want to fill it with my message. So music, classical music or trance, has no words. And so I started playing, in fact, this trance, because classical is when I want to do meditation, but when I am like, I have to finish this, then this trance, which is not electronic, it's different. But anyways, so I started putting that music, playing in the background. And I literally remember saying, I believe in God. And I remember telling God, I said, listen, I don't know how you put me here completely with nothing. I have no idea we will have a house. We will be able to afford the house and the cars and everything. So you put me here, dear Lord. In fact, I was not that nice. I said, well, you put me here so to get me out of here. This paper is due in 2 days. You write it. And I kid you not, ladies. I kid you, and I kid you not. I wrote it. I just started typing. I had done all my research, but then I started typing, and it all came together. I got a complete full A, not because of the A, but it was, as we were talking earlier, it was a download. It was a complete download, and it's one of the papers that someday I would like to publish and talk about, because it was a complete download. So it was that.
Thank you. Remember the song, I got the music in me. It's in there. It's there. It's our experiences. It's our perceptions. It's what matters to us. It's what we're aware of, that we don't plan, that we don't think about too much, that it's just, sometimes I think it's just things we see out of the side of our eyes. Some things are just there. Thank you all. We don't have time to go around about Cristina, because I want to end in a minute. You know what? Irene, do you have 1 or 2 sentences to say about Cristina, or Ruth? I do have time for that before we close. Anything you want to comment, Ruth, either? No?
I'll say really quickly, I loved how you were completely unabashedly claiming space. Unapologetically. It's like, as Carolyn Meese said, to really mess up your life, it takes God. And so it seemed like that certainly happened to you and happened for you. And you had the expectation, the knowing that this was going to happen no matter what.
I think we need to make space for the creativity to come through us, because I believe everybody, and I say this at the Publicity Summit, you don't have to be a singer or a dancer or an artist, a photographer or a top chef to be a creative. We're all creating our life, each one of us. We're figuring it out as we go along, right? So I have some closing remarks here before we go, and then we'll stick around, ladies, afterwards, and we'll talk for a minute. I want to thank Jordan, my engineer, and Jordan, it's always lovely to hear your voice, even for 30 seconds doing the count backwards from 5, please, before we go on. We've had people watching us on YouTube today, so let's wave hello to all the YouTube people. Thank you so much. Ladies, in 2014, I've been doing this a long time. I closed my radio show with the top 10 tips for women, and the number 1 tip came back to my attention about a year ago after a certain movie was released, and the number 1 tip back in 2014 was, aspire to be Barbie. The biatch has everything. There you go. So I want to close with the following words. We're just about ready. Life is short. Break the rules. Forgive quickly. Not my style yet. I'm learning. No, I'm not. Kiss slowly. Yes. Love truly. Oh, yes. Laugh uncontrollably. Ladies, laugh with me. 1, 2, 3. Not, come on, you can do a little louder. 1, 2, 3. There. Oh, good. We got a good high out of that one. And never, ever regret anything that made you smile. Final words. Work like you don't need the money. Dance like no one's watching. When I taught disco in high heels in a cafeteria with 250 people in my line dance class, everybody watched. No, I never fell. Sing like nobody's listening. I tried not to sing, sorry. And love like you've never been hurt. We all have. Let your heart grow back. Let it regenerate. Let it learn to love again. Money talks. Chocolate sings. La! And last but not least, I stole this line from a host many, many years ago. Thank you for turning me on. Ladies, wave goodbye to everybody. Let's put on the closing music if I can find it here. Closing. Here we go.
On Read My Lips Radio, producer and host, a.k.a. Radio Red, invites you to eavesdrop on her live, unscripted conversations with smart, savvy, creative people as she discovers what makes them tick, where they find their inspiration, when creativity first became their passion, and how their creative process can inspire the rest of us to think out of the box. Enjoy a.k.a. Radio Red's always lively, cool conversations with creatives. Oh, how those lips can talk.
Thank you to the voice of Ryan Treasure, Radio Red signing